Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. Alright, we have a reaction video to the Cole Custer Stewart-Haas penalty from the Charlotte Roval Bank of America Roval 400 that was upheld by the appeals committee. Earlier today we found out that they did uphold the penalty. Crew chief suspended indefinitely. 50-point penalty, I believe it was. $100,000 fine. I've seen a lot of stuff on social media, a lot of whataboutisms and just like isms and all that. Here's the thing. Two things are typically not the same in NASCAR. As fans, we look at situations and go, well, this situation matches this situation, so why isn't there a penalty? For instance, with the Ty Gibbs, Ty Dillon pit road incident, but Martin Truex Jr. and Kyle Larson. That's completely two different things. The sun was in Martin Truex's eyes. He missed his pit stall, slammed on the brakes, and Kyle bumped him. Ty Gibbs, Ty Dillon, Ty Gibbs literally hit Ty Dillon on purpose. Two different scenarios. It looks the same. Just like the Cole Custer slamming on the brakes, the crew chief says he's got a tire going down, and what happened at Daytona when Austin Dillon and Tyler Reddick was blocking for Austin Dillon. They're two different situations, and I don't think people quite are grasping how different they are. So here's what we're going to do. Like I've done the other reaction videos, we're going to play the last little over a lap of the Roval. And this is exactly why he got penalized. And then I'm going to play the last couple laps of the Coke Zero Sugar 400 from Daytona and give my opinion on why those two are different. So here is the last lap of the Bank of America Roval 400. Hang on. So you see Cindric there got turned around. So this was 2 laps to go. So now they come to the final lap. So once they go through the infield course, they'll come back around to the back course. And you see Chase Briscoe racing Austin Dillon right there. See the 3 car and the 14. So during the infield course, the 14 is in front of the 3. And there's the 41. So the 14's battling the 43 here. They come back on to turn 1 of the speedway. You see they're 3 wide with the 14 in the middle. The 3 gets around the 14. The 41 is up ahead. So right now, you can't see it on the screen, but the points were tied. You see the 41 literally slowed up, blocking the 3 and the 43 and letting the 14 go by. So when the 41 went high, he blocked the 43 and the 3. His crew chief said, you have a tire going down, you have a tire going down, slow down, slow down. Where they're at on the course, the crew chief could not see the car. The spotter head did not respond at all during this. The driver would know a tire is going down before the crew chief was, because there's nothing on the pit box that tells that crew chief that tire is going down unless the spotter sees it or the driver says it. That's why they were penalized, because they didn't impede the race. They literally slowed down, purposely blocking people, letting their teammate go by to get the points he needed. He was already in, but that just kind of made him in by 1 more point. Now we're going to take a look at the last 4 laps of the Coke Zero Sugar 400 from Daytona, the cutoff race for the playoffs. At the point in time we're going to pick it up, Austin Cindric is leading, Austin Dillon second, and Tyler Reddick is third. So here's this. So the 2 cars leading, followed by the 3, followed by the 62 and the 8. So right now Reddick is 4th. So 4 to go, the RCR is 2nd and 4th. So they're looking, try to see if they can get around that 2 car, because you get 3 Chevrolets right there. The 62 is an alliance to the 3 and the 8. So pretty much that Ford's by itself, and then so the 3 got the 2 loose, the 8 jumped in front of him, and you got some cars coming flying up there. So everybody's kind of got separated here. So the 2 RCR cars get back together here in a minute. So you can see here, which this is legal, he literally just pushed him out of the way, which you see that all the time, which kind of broke up the line, interrupted the draft. And then it comes back, you got 2 RCR Chevrolets, and then you have a Colic car, or no, that's Spire Motorsports, and then Beard Motorsports. Spire and Beard are technical alliance with RCR. So none of the top 4 are going to, in the 5th spot is David Reagan, which is a Ford for Rick Ware Racing. So the first 4 are Chevrolets. They are in alliance with one another. Nobody's pulling out. No matter how many people think that, yeah, see, that's just drafting. You go where the draft is. No one is purposely slowing down to try to let somebody by. Here comes the 16 on the outside with the 77. The 77 is driven by Landon Castle, which is a driver for Colic. 16 car is Colic. So you have 77, the 51, and the 15. The 51 and 15 are teammates, but they're not in the line. You have Reddick going, catching the draft wherever he can. So this is not blocking. This is just super speedway racing with the draft. At no time, because if Reddick would have pulled out, he could have got freight trained. And the fact you have the cars behind him all racing side by side, they're the back 4, they're slowing each other down. Now you have the 2 going high, trying to get a run, but he was too far back, and anytime, and see, Reddick went up to grab the draft, and so did Dillon. See, there at the end, he came, see, he was behind him, and the 2 car went low. So if the 2 car would have made his move quicker, on that one, he may have got around him. But here's the thing. That's just speedway racing. Because coming in 2nd is better than coming in 15th. We've been speedway racing with drafting far as back as I can remember, since the restrictor plate came into effect in 1987. Those 2 instances are completely 100% different. I know a lot of people are trying to do, well, what if Chase Elliott did to Kevin Harvick back in Bristol. Hang on a second, we'll take a look at that one as well. So yeah, Chase Elliott's right in front of him, but he also got the 18 on the inside. Chase is running basically Harvick's line. With all the lap cars there, Chase is just getting in front of him. So right here, Harvick got past him, or tried to get past him. Now I know a lot of people keep saying he was slowing down in front of him. He was running his same line. See right here, the 9 got pinched behind the 52. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with what the 9 is doing here. And this is with 34 to go. So the 5, oh, see, now this is when they were on the same lap together. So there's with 9 got the flat tire. That was where 9 got the flat tire at. So let's see if we can find here we go. Go back a little bit from here. So we have the 4. Okay, here we go. That's that's actually toward the. Let's see if we can go back. All right, here we go. The 9 is behind the 5 right here, and the 4 is leading by 7/10 of a second. 27 to go. The 9's got fresh tires, so he goes around the 4. And you got 34 right there. Now, as the 9 is running, he's running the same line, the preferred line. So the only thing he's doing wrong is he's running with the leaders instead of letting the leader pass because he's laps down. Because the preferred line is right next to the wall at Bristol. See where he's at there? Now, if he was purposely slowing down, all these other cars would catch him. They're not. So right now, Larson's a half a second behind. See if they get back to it here. So we're at 7 to go now, and they're not really concentrating on that. Here we go. So now the 9's in front of the 4. The 5 is catching the 4. The 9 technically right there kind of blocked both the 5 and the 4. Now the 4 and the 5 are going at it. And the 9's way ahead. So the way I look at these three, on the Bristol race there with the 4 and the 9, the 9 was running his line, running the same line. If he was purposely slamming on the brakes and slowing down in front of him like everybody says he was, then you would see cars flying up on him. That you weren't seeing that. The two are completely different. If you purposely pull in front of somebody and slam on the brakes versus you're drafting in the Talladega one and this one right here, you're just running their line so they can't get around you. Those are three completely different scenarios that everyone's trying to say they're just alike. They're not. NASCAR, everybody's saying NASCAR has been inconsistent with penalties this year. No, they haven't. If a tire comes off, boom, here's a penalty. Now, they have modified that. If you leave your pit box and you only go one pit stall and it comes off, there's a couple of those they've let slide because it's right there, you didn't do anything. But for the most part, they've all been farther away and they've penalized everyone. I've not yet seen two penalties identical, 100% exactly the same, and one get a penalty and one not. The appeals committee, what happens is you get penalized. NASCAR penalizes them. You can appeal the penalty. It does cost you, but you can appeal the penalty. While you appeal the penalty doesn't exist. So if your crew chief's suspended, he can be on the pit box, or whatever the case is. You don't lose the money or points yet. When your appeal is heard, like this one was today, the appeals committee, which is independent from NASCAR, there are 9 people on the appeals committee. They are in different parts of the racing world. Only 3 of them are at a time, so it's a random 3 draw on who hears the appeal. NASCAR presents their case. The team presents their case. They rule. As we've seen in the Jeremy Clemens situation in Daytona for the Xfinity team, they ruled in favor of the team. NASCAR penalized because it's an illegal intake manifold. The appeals committee, yes, you're right, is the illegal part, but the illegal part hurt them more than it helped them. We're rescinding this penalty. Okay. In the case of William Byron and Denny Hamlin, NASCAR presented their case. The appeals committee said, you're right, it is a penalty, but according to the rule book and or points and money, my opinion, the appeals committee said, you know what, NASCAR missed this. They should have taken care of this in real time. We're giving back the points, adding money to it. In this case, they said, we agree with NASCAR. This is what we're doing. So the appeals committee can A, rescind the penalty altogether, which they have done. B, they can modify the penalty, which they've already done. And C, they can uphold the penalty. Those are the options that the appeals committee can do. Either rescind, appeal, uphold. Or they can also change it where it's harsher. So maybe NASCAR penalized them, say Bubba Wallace, say they would have appealed that. NASCAR penalized them one race. The appeals committee said, ooh, no, this is worse than one race. We could give you whatever. But since the 2311 team did not appeal that, it stuck. So unless you can tell me two situations that are match identically, like Kyle Busch had a tire come off, Austin Cindric had a tire come off, both parties got penalized. Now I know there's been a couple where tire came off, they were still in their pit box, or they were like one pit away, and NASCAR didn't penalize them. And NASCAR even said, within reason of your pit box, we're not going to penalize you. So if there are two or more, I think three pit stalls as far as I've seen, 3 or more pit stalls away from their pit box, and the tire comes off, they penalize them. Plain and simple. But that's how I read the penalties. That's how I've understood everything. That's what I think is going on with the penalty today. It is instead Cole Custer lost his crew chief indefinitely, which in my opinion probably be Daytona. He'll be back. He'll probably miss a clash. He'll be back at Daytona. I know there's a lot of talk of Stuart Haas possibly, or Tony getting out of NASCAR because Tony's mad at NASCAR. When you get 2 penalties in 2 weeks and it's over $200,000 in penalties, one, tell your people to stop cheating on the body when you can't do it because they didn't have a deck lid. And if you rescinded your appeal, that means you're guilty to me. You accepted the penalty if you rescinded it. And number 2, when your crew chief says, tire down, and you can't see the car, come up with better code words, or don't say it at all. I know. The other one everybody's talked about is Eric Jones. The crew chief told him, do not pass Denny Hamlin. Here's the thing. If he would have tried to pass him, and he would have, say he spun out, he wrecked himself, that takes himself way back. He wrecked his teammate, or he caused a big crash. I don't have a problem personally if somebody doesn't pass somebody, because there are things that could happen. Just like at Homestead, when Matt Crafton got under Ben Rhodes, he got loose because everyone was on wore out tires. He backed off of it, tried it again. He kept trying. He could have basically wiped them all out, but he chose to back off. Yes, people say that's not race 100%. Within reason. These are all different things. The Cole Custer thing, to me, is black and white. He goes into the corner, goes high, slams on the brakes, blocks 2 people, his teammate goes by him. That's different than the Daytona when the leader is driving on the bottom, goes up, drives on the top, down the bottom, on the top. That's different. Even in Martinsville this week, we're going to see if you have 2 teammates on the front row, the teammate on the inside may drag the brake a little bit, but let his teammate in front of him. That is what this type of racing does. There is not a style of racing that says going into a corner, you go high, slam on your brakes, and slow down all of a sudden and let people by you. Just Daytona, Talladega, and Atlanta, the style of racing is drafting, blocking. That's the style. We've done it since 1987. At a road course, especially at a short track, especially in Martinsville, sometimes you may let a friend of yours, it may not even be a teammate, maybe just a friend. Bubba Wallace, Ryan Blaney are friends. If Ryan Blaney's on the bottom, he may let somebody down in front of him because it's a one-groove racetrack sometimes. That's different than what Cole Custer did. All right. Thanks for watching the Robert Sports Show. Make sure you check out the Xfinity preview. Make sure you check out the Champion Profile series that I worked on last offseason, which I'll finish this offseason. Also, check out the driver profile of one Bubba Wallace. As always, thanks for watching the Robert Sports Show. Don't just have a great day. Have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader, sports channel content.